What's up, Trek Nation? Welcome back to After the Snap. I'm Tasha Pierce. This right here is our chat section. This right here is our chat session where we're going to discuss what's been going on in Star Trek Picard season 3 up until episode 3, which was titled 17 Seconds. And generally, I would have the description of the episode up, but I don't. So I won't be reading that right now. But yeah, we've got a lot to discuss about 17 Seconds, which was another stellar episode of Star Trek, if you ask me. But before we get into Star Trek Picard, there was some news that came out about Star Trek Discovery. Sad news for if you were a fan of Star Trek Discovery, like myself. Discovery will be ending with season 5. Now, season 5 has been in post-production for some time now. I actually thought we were going to get that really soon, but it looks like we're not getting season 5 of Star Trek Discovery until 2024, which is also heartbreaking. We got a whole nother year before we'll find out how Michael Burnham and the rest of the crew of Discovery end up. And how does this whole series come to an end? To me, very, very heartbreaking news. As it was pointed out to me by several people on the Discord, that there are, oh, by the way, join my Discord. Information is in the first comment in this chat. It was brought up to me that most people believe that this is due to the budget cuts that are happening over at Paramount Plus. And I can agree with that. I can agree. As much as I hate that Star Trek Discovery is a victim of those budget cuts, it is an understandable part of business. However, we could have chosen any of these series to be the one that was on the chopping block. So what made... Okay. Hi, Geek Filter. Yeah, I agree. The good thing is that they're doing extra scenes and reshoots to tie things up a bit better. And I'm really glad that we will at least get that, where there will probably or more than likely be some kind of hopefully satisfying end to the Discovery saga. It just hurts my heart. And it makes me feel like, there were other shows that could have been cut. I know we're not trying to do anything with Strange New Worlds. Strange New Worlds is a gem. Prodigy is a gem. I'm not going to throw any other names of shows out there. We know Picard is ending this season with season 3. I'm not throwing any other names out there, but it's not too much left either. So you can kind of have a guess at what I would have thought might have been what got cut, and gives, it was also pointed out to me, and I'm all over the place with this because I am feeling some type of way. But it was also brought up to me that no series are really running 10, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons too much anymore. Things are, the window for a series is a lot shorter now, due to streaming. The way things are streaming now, you get a tight, maybe 8 to 10 episodes, maybe 3 to 5 seasons. And I understand that. I get it. It would have just been better to me if they had known going into filming season 3 or season 4, I'm sorry, that it would have been better had they known going into season 5 that season 5 was going to be their last. But like Geek Filter has pointed out, they're going to do some reshoots. They're going to tie things up. They're going to put a bow on it. I feel a little bit jaded because, even though Michael Burnham got a bad rap with a lot of people in the fandom, I can identify with that character for more than the obvious reasons, and I hate to see her arc end. I know that we said the same thing about a lot of other characters, and we ended up getting them in other iterations of Trek. Let's just hope that the door is open for the characters from Discovery to make their way to other series. At least we can see them again. Geek Filter, you said Geek Filter says, I'm so frustrated with people who are celebrating the end of the show. I just wish people could celebrate what they love and just ignore what they don't. I agree. You don't have to like Discovery. What it is if you are a Star Trek fan, Discovery was good for Trek. Whether you like the show or not, it opened the door for more series. And because of the success or because of the reception of Star Trek Discovery, we got Star Trek Strange New Worlds. We got this wonderful season of Star Trek Picard. We got Lower Decks. We got Prodigy. We've got New Trek. And they have been trying to keep at least one show on at least every quarter is what they're saying. Thank you. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't get how they think not or being vocally loud and vocal about their dislike of Discovery. I don't know how they think that benefits the Trek community. So it's I feel that way about all of the fandoms. To be quite honest, we can take out Star Trek and Star Trek Discovery for the Snyderverse and that sort of thing. So if you're a geek fan, then you know. Oh, David, we're still here. I hope you still hang out with us. But yeah, heartbreaking. I don't know. I'm not ready to give up on Star Trek Discovery. Of course, it does mean that we are going to get hopefully, at least from my understanding, that the Starfleet Academy series is going to be set in the far future in the 32nd century, unless something changes at the end of Discovery. We never know. So we will still see that timeline, and maybe again some of the characters that we have grown to have an affection with through Star Trek Discovery. I just wanted to make sure that we addressed that because it just hurt my heart so bad. I didn't like it. I didn't like hearing it, especially on the same day that we are discussing what a wonderful episode of Star Trek Picard we got. It kind of took the wind out of my sails. Now, again, the cast and the crew found out from a Zoom call, which, I guess that's the way we're doing things now, that these people are knowing now that they are not going to be coming back for a season after season 5. But a lot of the Star Trek family, extended family, to include our Captain Pike, Anson Mount, came out and spoke life into the Discovery crew. We had a real good quote from Sonequa Martin Green, who is my captain. So yeah, it was just heartbreaking news. So anywho, if you got any further thoughts on Star Trek Discovery and the ending of that series, just put it down. We can chat about it if you guys are up to it. Now, we're going to talk about 17 seconds. And that means that we are getting into spoilers. So if you have not yet watched season 3, episode 3 of Star Trek Picard, what the heck are you even doing? I'm going to need you to watch it before you come here. Hey there, Clarence. Glad to see you, sir. Clarence and I have been still having our chat sessions about some of the visuals that we saw in Star Trek Picard, and I guess we can share those thoughts with you. James Lattimore, hi. You're a captain also. Yes, I love Sonequa Martin Green. And again, there's always the opportunity, just like we got with Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Strange New Worlds, there's always an opportunity to see Sonequa again, hopefully, and all of the rest of them. Don't just stop at Sonequa. What's going to happen with Saru? What's going to happen with Tilly? I think we know what's going to happen with Tilly. She's going to end up over there in the new Starfleet Academy series. Yeah, Clarence, hope to see Sonequa Martin Green in Trek again. Me too. And again, like we were saying earlier, and you don't have to like her. You don't have to like the series. Just celebrate Trek. Celebrate that we're getting Trek. Okay. I say you guys happy to see each other in the chat. I'm glad to see that. Well, we're gonna talk about this. We'll talk about 17 seconds. And I don't want to sound unexcited. And normally I would invite Clarence to be here with me, but I didn't give him no heads up. So I didn't want to just in last minute invite him. But Clarence, I'm glad to have you in the stream. Hey, I'll take a compliment any way I can get it. I appreciate it. So, 17 seconds. This thing, and again, if you want a more kind of cohesive, concise, I guess I could call it concise, review, I've got one of those up on my channel. Here today, we're going to be all over the place, and we are going to be trying to figure out what we think, and also talk about some of the things that we did see in this episode. Geek Filter adds, and hopefully the Discovery stories can continue in the comic books. They often have actual Trek writers contributing, any way that we can keep the stories going with Discovery. Because I promise you, and I know I said I was off of Discovery, but I promise you, in about 10 years, people are going to be asking, whatever happened to Star Trek Discovery? That was a good series. We watched it all over again, and it hit a little different. And it's the same thing that happens with every Trek reboot, rebrand, whatever. We went from the TOS to TNG. People hated TNG when it first came out. And then from there, progressively, it goes on. This ain't that, and that ain't this. And I promise you, all this Trek is going to be repopularized with time. Enterprise, same thing. So I'm not going to cry too long for it. Like you said, we'll get it in other mediums, and we will see a resurgence in Star Trek Discovery. I promise you. If I'm still here in 10 to 15 years, hit me on the shoulder, say, yep, you said it, you was right. Yes, Geek Filter, and on and on and on, because people didn't like Voyager, people didn't like Enterprise. It just continued to go on. I think the one that most people didn't have a problem with after they saw where things was going was DS9. Most people felt DS9 was okay, but everything else, there was some faction that was unsatisfied with a whole lot of it. And Clarence said, even this one episode of Star Trek Picard hit different in his second watch. And I have noticed that as well. There have been some episodes that I have not been keen on. Then after we have an opportunity to watch it again, you're seeing it with less critical eyes. Geek Filter says, back then they even had people saying TAS isn't real Star Trek, which happened with every show after, every single show, every one. Yes. David says, I am. It looked like an upload on the thumbnail said 9 minutes ago. Oh, okay. Yeah, you made it. You made it, sir. And I appreciate you. I really do. Now, one of the things that moving into Star Trek Picard, and you guys can continue the conversation in the chat. I'm going to pick up comments as we're moving around. But as we look at Star Trek Picard, one of the first things that stood out to me was the de-aging in the scene where Picard and Riker were having drinks over at 10 Forward in Los Angeles, celebrating the birth of one Thaddeus Riker. Clara says, my friend called me out when I laughed at TAS, and he was right. It was the only Trek fans, the only Trek that fans had, and they adored it. I think I was still a little person. So when the animated series came on, I was, first and foremost, I think when it came out, I was 1 year old. So, really wasn't watching a lot of Trek then. But it came on Saturday mornings, and Saturday mornings was a busy time. We had to make some real life or death decisions on Saturday mornings, and I never have watched the animated series ever. None of the episodes. However, I'm going to be doing something called Trek by Numbers coming up soon, and I guess you guys will be the first to know, where I am going to pick a number and pick a season and pick an episode number and watch every episode of every season that has that number. So like if it's 1 in 15, I'm going to watch season 1, episode 15 of every Trek show that has a season 1 and an episode 15, which means these are going to be some long arcs to my Trek by Numbers, but hopefully I can sustain myself and I can do it. So you guys heard it here first. We were talking about this de-ages kind of creeps me out. Tell me how you guys felt. Like, let me know if de-aging in general it's never 100% believable. There's always something about it that looks a little wonky, and this was no different. The de-aging in this was creepy to me. Geek Filter said, I wrote the official guide to TAS. I'm excited to hear what you think. Well, I am going to be putting those out, and just make sure you're subscribed and turn your notifications on, because those will be coming soon. I ain't gonna give you a date, but soon. James, you say you're an old school Trek fan from the 60s. Well, what's up? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the party. Claire says he needs to seek that out, Geek Filter. Yeah, Geek Filter. It looked like old people with smooth skin masks. Yes. Yeah, the voices weren't even sweetened. It was creepy. It was. That was the one thing, the biggest complaint that I had, is that the voices did not match what we were seeing on screen. It was creepy. And if you didn't get enough, I got a closer look up of Rikers. I don't know how close that is coming up to you guys. Let's see if I can make it bigger. But I got that. Yeah, it just looked creepy to me. It just looked creepy. We didn't get. And there was an old picture of Picard with Thaddeus Riker. And then we had look who reported to work today, Marina Sirtis, a de-aged Troy, and she is holding the baby. Now, she made mention that the baby was vomiting all over the warp core, and I'm like, what was that baby doing down there? Why did you have that baby there? David said, I'm a dope. What is TAS? The animated series, the original animated series. Claire said the aging was good. I think it was Stewart's voice that made it uncanny valley. I think all of it bothered me, Clarence. All of it all of it got under my skin. Cake is eternal. I am so glad it is. I can eat cake. What's happening? Glad to have you here today. You said you think Deanna was just being tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, she was kind of channeling Luxwana Troy, her mama. I said, do people, when beta heads have babies, do they become their mama? Say Riker's face with JL's toast went on and on. Yeah, and it ended with, this ain't even a compliment to you. Yeah, TAS, the old animated series. Don't worry, David, because I know you keep up with my videos. You'll see. And we are saying greetings and salutations to everyone out there. Geek Filter, you tweeted that. Thank you for doing that for me. You are such a gem. I appreciate it. So yeah, we have Troy with a baby in warp in engineering. Clarence says he thinks that she was just being tongue in cheek. But the best thing about this scene was, number one, seeing Troy for the first time this series, and the fact that we didn't have to see a close-up of her de-age. Oh gosh. You said for a first attempt, but that wasn't their first attempt, Clarence. Remember, they did it with Q, and I thought it was done better with Q in season 2 of Picard. Strict meltdown. Uh, what is this? Oh, I can't sell nothing, baby. I can't sell anything. Strict meltdown. Uh, Now, when we got to the scenes with Picard and Beverly, and oh, I'm gonna put that up there for everybody. But when we got to the scenes of Picard and Beverly, did we notice that when their conversation started, it seemed like they were very separated, and as the conversation went on, the distance between them shortened and shortened until they were face to face. I think this was an indication of just how far apart they are right now. Because number one, you can't spring no baby on people. You can't do that, Beverly. That's just how did you guys feel with not the excuse, with the reason that she gave for not telling Jean-Luc about Jack? How did you guys feel about the explanation that she gave? Claire said the Q one scared you. The Q one didn't bother me. It was this. This is the one that bothered me, I think. So we got some mentions while they were talking, and some of it was, let's see. Beverly said that she and Picard went on shore leave together on Casperia Prime. I found out that is a vacation planet that we never really saw, but Jadzia and Worf were going to go on their honeymoon there. It's kind of like a Risa-like planet, from my understanding. Now, you could correct me if I'm off out here in the chat too, you guys, if you've seen that planet before. And then also they talked about the Remans, who were introduced to Star Trek Nemesis, which also featured a Romulan commander named Dinatra, and they talked about the Dinatra system. So I'm wondering if they named a system after Dinatra. Let's see. Clarence said this scene one-ups last week's scene. Masterful acting from Stewart, from both of them, because it started just like that one from last week ended, where there were no words. They started off with no words, and then the feeling and the emotion from Jean-Luc Picard about being left out of this huge decision, and Beverly making mention of the fact that she lost her entire family to these same stars that owns Jean-Luc. Man, that just hit so hard. That was a fantastic line and fantastic delivery. And we see that Picard, he will run as soon as the star is called. As I said in my review, he did it to Laris. As soon as Beverly called, they were on their way to go do something. He bounced. I have to agree in a lot of ways with Beverly, but I cannot abide the decision that she made of having this baby without any input from the father. Geek Filter says, in the first few missions with Jean-Luc, her other son, Wes, was nearly put to death for standing on grass and then kidnapped by other people who couldn't have their own kids. I think she was justified. I think, yeah, her fears are justified. And the fact that Wesley probably would not have wanted to move off into the stars with the travelers had he never been in the stars in the first place. So she probably was carrying a little guilt about that, because I followed my son all the way to Texas. I moved where I am right now because I cannot be without my son. So at that time, that was her only. To have to say goodbye to him and never see him again, That's hard. That's tough on a mama. Clarence said, I don't think she was justified. She never gave him a choice. I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's hard to choose the right or wrong because both of them in many ways are right. But at the end of the day, she was wrong for not even telling him about his child. Yes, David, they have Kirk and TAS, but they have some new characters as well. We're going to have to get you acquainted to that. Cake is eternal. Decision was not Picard's. Decision was Beverly's to protect her child. This could be it could get to be a dangerous slope, a very slippery slope when we say, it's the woman's right to choose whether or not she has a baby. And then to keep the baby from the father, the child has an interest here as well. Now, at that point, upon the child being born, the child should have a say, or at least the chance to get to know both of their parents. She presented him with the choice when he got older, and he made a decision then, but he should have had the opportunity to know his father. But that is like, now we're getting into some real deep conversation. But I can't say that she was right, but I could say that her thinking, her explanation makes sense. Her fears are justified, but not the way she handled it. Perfect. Geek Filter said, I think it's both of their decisions since it took both of them to make the child. It's just a very messy situation with a lot of moral gray areas. Exactly. And I mean, technically, did she ask him over all this time? She never needed his help. But then you can't say she didn't need his help, because there are things that can be taught to a child by the father that the mother has no understanding of. So again, slippery slope. I'm gonna leave that alone for the time being. Yeah. Did we see a peak of Section 31? Did we? James? I don't know for certain, because I thought that we were going to find out that Worf was Starfleet intelligence or Section 31, but it turns out that he's a what did he call himself? A subcontractor. So he's not part of Starfleet, it doesn't sound like anymore. We're going to get to Worf. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But yeah, Clarence, it was a double whammy when he chose to not see him when he came of age. It was a very messy situation. Yes. And I think you're asking the same. I mean, I think you're feeling the same way I am, Geek Filter. Was he talking about Worf? At the end, did we see some Section 31? I don't know, honey. We're gonna have to see. He's a freelancer. Oh, son of Moog and subcontractor. And Cake is Eternal says, I will say Picard has lost contact with friends, abandoned Elnor, and Raffi has not proven to be the most dependable. When the stars call, Jean-Luc Picard bounces. However, we see that he's able to at least sit still for a little while because he was out there on the in the vineyard for some time, was he not? Yeah. Now we got some great visuals, some like fantastic visuals. Vadic this week. Put your thoughts about Vadic down in the comments, because in my opinion, she threw all that silly Joker stuff away from last week. She went into methodical, calculating, precise. She showed us why she would be formidable. And to that, I would take my hat off. She showed us why she is a force to be reckoned with. So I like, as much as you can like a villain, I like where she went this week. Yeah, this could be a 4-hour podcast on just that question. If Beverly should have told Picard, it's great that Trek is wrestling with these questions. I agree. Some people are not going to give it as much thought as we are. But it is a question. And again, the morality of it becomes front and center when two people have very valid arguments for why they should not have been included and for why they should have been included. The cake is a lie. Where are my Portal fans? Wait a minute. I'm missing something, Clarence. Oh, you say, okay, I get it. Portal. Yeah. Not okay. I'm following you now. Speaking of portals, we got to see that portal weapon be used. And when I say she used it effectively, she tore the Titan up with that weapon. And the visuals of it were pretty darn good. I truly enjoyed seeing that put to work in a tactical situation, not just to do terrorist acts, but in a tactical situation, she used this thing quite effectively. Last week, Vadic was Vindicta, the parody of a bad guy that Mariner is in Lower Decks. Yeah, Crisis Point. She was so over the top. Glad to see her rein it in a bit. I kind of, I like the balance. It seems like last week she was putting on for the Titan. It was like it was an act. She did that. And it seems like for their entertainment, even though I'm pretty sure they were not entertained, but she did it for their entertainment. And that was weird to see that she really is a menace. But yeah, that portal weapon, chef's kiss for the graphics on that. Excuse me. Then we got Shaw, and I'm going to move myself for a minute. We got Shaw on the bridge after the volley of torpedoes from the Shrike. He was injured, seriously injured, but had the presence of mind before he was escorted off the bridge to transfer command over to Riker because he got us into it, and you're going to get us out of it. What did we think about him giving his command codes right there on the bridge in front of the entire bridge crew? Now, I know that this was a situation that could not be avoided, but now you're going to have to change your passwords. Oh, trust me. I had to clean the cat kettle this morning, so I know about excitement. That was more excitement than I could take. Geek Filter. So yeah, he gave his passwords right out there on the bridge. Now, again, it sounded crazy to me in the moment anyway. But now knowing that there was a changeling feet away from him, just standing feet away from him, it makes me feel like that might have been a mistake. Or if it's not a mistake, then it should be. It should tactically have been an error for him to do that. Hi, Joel. And yes, thanks for Geek Filter for tweeting it. I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm like, Shaw should have at some point. This should be an error. This should be something that can come back to bite him in the butt. Oh, okay. Claire said it's voice imprinted, but Shaw just had enough. and I feel him. He did. It was just too much good. For somebody who was out there and this was the last thing that they expected to be doing. They were supposed to be going on an exploratory mission. This man fell asleep and woke up in the writing system right at the at moments before an attack. That's a heck of a way to wake up. Okay. Then we had the things on the ship, the things on the ship with Vadic. What are we calling these? I have a theory video out, but I'm thinking there are some people who are saying that this is a changeling. But I'm like, okay, so if it's a changeling, why did they take this form? And why are they not speaking in regular Federation standard English? So what do you guys think? Give me your thoughts in the comments or in the chat, because there are also those who think it's the Breen. And the Breen, this would be a very different look for the Breen. Of course, the last time we saw the Breen was during the Dominion War. At least that's where the last place I can remember seeing them, except for, fleetingly in fleetingly in lower decks. But okay, we've seen the Breen, and yeah, Picard did say that the dust of the aliens that Beverly shot was strange. Maybe it's changeling dust. Could possibly be. But I just it makes me ask too many questions. Now I can say that maybe they're taking the appearance that they have to be intimidating, but it doesn't explain the voice. It doesn't explain the way that they're speaking to me. But we're going to hopefully find out soon, because some people were saying that what they watched it on. I think the people who watched it on Amazon. Don't quote me, because I watched it on Paramount Plus. There are those who said when they watched it on Amazon, that it said Changeling 1, and then it said we've lost them in the nebula. It was their closed captions were different. I agree with that. Changelings are an early reveal, which makes him think that Vadic is in bed with someone else. And I don't want to throw out too many guesses. I do have, like I said, a crazy theory video out on my channel, and I'm going to stick with my initial thoughts there. But there are other people that this species could be. So the changeling's free lore trying to control him, that might not go well for them. I mean, yeah, you ain't gonna control. You're not gonna control lore, but I do agree that we may be seeing lore sooner rather than later, especially with the knowledge that there's something else missing from the Daystrom Institute, Daystrom Station, where Worf and Raffi will be heading next week. We're in Seven's quarters, and we see that she is not only making little models. I've been told, because I'm not up on the models in the ships, that this is an Eagle Moss, another one. So glad to see the Eagle Moss models, even though the company is no longer available, or they're no longer selling their ships, that we are still getting to see them through Star Trek. And it's the Voyager, of course, which just shows us that, number one, is that her mentor, Janeway, had a similar model in her quarters or ready room. She had a similar model, and that she still has a true affection for her time on the Voyager. Says Sela, they've said so often that she's not going to be in the season that she kind of has to now. I agree that she's going to be here. But remember when we heard in episode 1 where they were talking about a Romulan woman who was killed 210 days prior by her father. Who could they have been referring to there? Could that have been Denatra? Could it be Sela? Who could they have been talking about? Give me your thoughts. And then we get to Worf. I am Worf, son of Moog, house of Martok, son of Sergei, house of Rozhenko, bane to the Duras family, slayer of Garon. And I take my Starbucks with chamomile tea with very little sugar. Cake is eternal. Denise Crosby has been denying that she's in this season, but I expect for her to deny that she's in this season, as has Terry Matalas said that we won't be seeing Denise Crosby, but I expect for him to say that we won't be seeing Denise Crosby. There are some issues that I got with Terry Matalas on Twitter. Terry Matalas, his lips are a little loose, and I say that because there were at least 2 tweets where people were making guesses about something in season 3 of Picard, and he responded with, I'm not going to spoil it here. If you guys are on Twitter and read and are following Terry Matalas, you probably already know what I'm talking about. But I think he should not do that. I think he should just let us play the game, and these reveals come out as they do. Or do you think maybe he's telling us because he doesn't want people to be disappointed when these reveals happen? Yeah, Cake is eternal. He did it twice. He did it twice. And I cannot, I just don't understand why he's doing that. I don't understand why he's doing that. But I enjoy our seeing Worf. Worf is listening to opera, and he's doing what is it called, Makbari? Is that what it's called? And we saw some vintage Worf, and then we're getting this new Worf with a sense of humor, which Jadzia Dax said he didn't have. He is proving to be quite funny this season. We got to see the Doc Tang. Well, how do you say that? Let me look at what it is again, because I cannot. The Doc Tog knife. So we've seen it before. We're seeing it here close up again. This is what he threw at Raffi when she tried to attack him with her little phaser, or with his phaser, actually. This week's Raffi storyline, I wasn't feeling her storyline in the first 2 episodes because it was such a stark difference from the action that we saw on the Titan, where I started to feel like, man, her arc is slowing things down too much. But with the addition of Worf, things have gotten better. She has someone now to bounce off of, and it has gotten so much better to me. So yay, Raffi. Say Worf has been working on himself. Yeah. Oh, the Worf Raffaella stuff grew on him, grew on Clarence. A good buddy team up, good cop, bad cop. And gosh, who would have ever thought that Worf would be the bad cop? Okay. Raffi finally has someone who believes in her. Absolutely. Because not only does he believe in her, I think he believes in her beyond the belief that she has in herself. He sees something in her that he's seen before. And I think in a lot of ways, she probably reminds him of Jadzia. Let me know if you guys are seeing that. Believes her and has resources. Yes. Hey, speaking of resources, let's wait a minute. I don't want to get too far ahead. We see this changeling. We don't know he's a changeling yet. This is who they're supposed to be looking for. Thomas Ricca. We know that Thomas is really named Thomas Dekker, and in Star Trek, was it Generations? He played Picard's son in this little alternate universe or whatever. So how cute. He was such a cute little baby. And he also played in Voyager in a couple episodes. Was it those episodes when Janeway was like in the kind of medieval times where she was the babysitter for that man? You guys let me know if you remember the two episodes that Thomas Dekker was in on Voyager as well. Well, he's back, but he ain't playing no cute little kid anymore. He's playing somebody who has information about the portal weapon that was stolen from Daystrom Station. Yeah, it's the same actor. He was so cute when he was little. Cool Easter egg. It really was. So we got him. Now, what the hell was I about to say? Joel said believes her and has resources. Okay, so now that we know we got some changelings, we got some changelings in the house. Do you think we'll see anybody else from the DS9 era? Will we see, for instance, O'Brien, or will we see my choice, Bashir, or who could we possibly see coming from the DS9 era? Let me know if you guys have any thoughts. But again, Raffi and Worf, the good cop, bad cop thing worked for me, especially since they didn't do it the obvious way. They made her the bad cop. Worked for me. All of that worked for me. It worked for me that Worf was still in contact with Odo, even while Odo is in the Great Link. We got not a name drop, but a reference of Odo, that's more than I expected in this season of Star Trek Picard. So I was excited for that. Also was in Sarah Connor, the Terminator. Oh, I didn't watch that. Joel says Bashir could be in charge of Worf in Section 31, but Joel wants Kira. Doesn't Bashir make sense though, because he knows all about the ins and outs? He was the person who has the most information on the changelings. He was the doctor who took care of Odo when Odo was dying. He was there, so he would have some type of inside knowledge about the anatomy and physiology of the changeling. Now, this is not to say that we will see them, but it makes sense. But I'd also like to see Kira. I wouldn't mind seeing her. Sad that Odo can't come back unless they try to do, I hope they don't in any way bring Odo back, but they could just say he took on a different form or something like that to help. But yeah, I hope they don't do that. Don't touch that legacy. I hope. O'Brien would be because O'Brien was very instrumental in the Dominion War. So that would be somebody who I would expect to see. It wouldn't be without outside of the realm of possibility to see anybody from DS9, with the exception of Cisco, who I still think there's a possibility that we could see, but that's like me really reaching. We'll get there. So yeah, what do we think about the changeling, the way they change now? It looks frightening. Now, if Odo were changing like that, I don't care if he was a good guy. That would be terrifying to me to see that the way they, and I don't know if the Thomas Ricker or Titus Ricker character looks that way because he is sick, because it has been so long since he regenerated to his true form. But yeah, it's terrifying. Oh, yep, Molly or Jake, the next generation, right? uh Jake, we don't, we knew that he was a part of the press. He wanted to be a writer, but after his father left, we don't, unless you read the books and all of that stuff, we don't particularly know what happened to Jake. And there's a lot that could be done with that character. Geek Filter says, I was going to say they could pull a Doctor Who regeneration sort of thing with Odo, but please don't computer simulate Rene Auberjonois. I hope not either. Like I said, don't touch that legacy. Leave it alone. The actress who played Molly was in Star Trek Renegade, so she totally could. I wouldn't mind seeing, especially if they say, let's contact O'Brien. And even though everybody's mind is going to automatically go to Chief O'Brien, what if that would be the O'Brien that they would go to? That would be a cute way they could pull it off. Angus, hey there, Keiko. Yeah, I guess there is another O'Brien they could be referred to. Hi, how's it going, Angus? Yeah, so yeah, the regeneration, like I said, the regeneration effect was yuck. It was yuck. And then Worf pulls out his little old school phaser and taps it one time and kills it. Now let me ask y'all this. Why didn't the changeling just get out of the handcuffs? That's a question I need. Unless he wanted to be caught and he wanted to have the conversation with them about the Dominion coming for him and all of this, but they should have never been able to catch that changeling. And Worf not only caught him, choke slammed him, not choke slammed him. Yeah, he did. He choke slammed him. So it was weird to me that the changeling didn't get away. And we didn't ask really a whole lot of questions about it at the time, but I'm like, why didn't he get away? He could have easily, if you could do all what he just did, he could have gotten out of those handcuffs at any time. I have zoomed through these. This is the big question for me. And yeah, Leonardo da Vinci, Janeway was his apprentice, right? He didn't want to blow his cover. So he did though. I guess he thought he would have gotten out of there by then. I don't know. This was a point of huge. We got a lot of questions. The founders always used paranoia as a weapon. Yeah, because it makes me think of what was it? Homefront and Paradise Lost. Yeah. What's going on with Seven, y'all? What was, and this was in the vision that Jack was having. Jack was having a vision after his confrontation with the changeling, and the changeling. Another question before I move on to, have the changeling, were they always that strong? Remind me, because I don't remember them being like that strong. But anywho, so Jack, after his confrontation with the changeling, was having a vision. And in this vision, Seven, a very happy, smiling, peaceful looking Seven, with these red vines or tendrils coming up out of her, was telling him, follow the branches, find me. What do you think she was referring to in that moment? Joel, I have been racking my brain this entire weekend because I know, or at least I feel like I've seen it before, and I just don't know where I've seen it before. So is it the crystalline entity? Could that be it? Let me look up a picture of crystalline entity while we're talking here. Anybody else got any thoughts? Because I've been really trying to figure out exactly family tree branches, and I guess it could be. Who is he looking? Who is it? They saying, "Come find me." Could it be Picard's mother? I hope not. You know what? Let me share this. I am going to share this because Joel could potentially be onto something. I mean, you guys tell me what you think. I am going to share this. Do you guys seeing what I'm seeing? That is the crystalline entity. Yes, please, Geek Filter, check. Because this is what we're looking at as far as the crystalline entity. Would this appear to be a nebula to them? Okay, so Joel is giving us some background on why they feel this way. Joel says, Laura's coming, and I feel they want to tie something to his first episode with the entity. And it could very well be. That's probably better than what I'm thinking, because I was really leaning towards prophets, even though those vines don't lead me to prophets, but the affect that Seven had was so peaceful and just so. And then when we looked on the other side of that red door, all that we could see was maybe the blinding light coming out from behind that red door in the vision. And I'm like, well, in that okay, when we saw every time we saw the prophets, it was a blinding light. So I think though this, let me just put it back. Add the stream. It could be. Follow the branches. Find me. That's what she said. So yeah, that's probably about as good a guess as any. Joel, that's a good one. Does somebody else have anything? Family. Okay, Geek Filter said family tree branches. Cakey's Eternal said grapevines. Like wine. Yeah. Geek Filter went to go look to see, did the caves under Farpoint look like that? So you tell me what you came up with, Geek Filter. I won't look that one up. I'll let you tell me. But yeah, that's probably as good a guess as any, especially since it resembled a large snowflake, could travel at warp speeds, and had the ability to consume all life on a planet or a starship. Geek Filter said, nope, the walls are sort of techie looking, but no vein. You're right. They look very, very familiar. And again, I feel like I've seen this before. And at first I thought it was, remember when the Power Wraiths took over Gold Dukat? But I'm like, well, why would the Power Wraiths be trying to help Jack if he's being helped? I don't know. I cannot wait, and I hope they don't make us wait very long for the reveal of that, because that's going to bother me. Wesley calling, that could be I mean, we started talking about this door because here's this door. Here's the door I'm talking about. And that's not a huge hint, right? But when you start thinking of doorways, I think of not the traveler. I think of the travelers, and not the travelers, the supervisors, the watcher. I think of the watchers, and I also think of the Guardian of Forever, and then I got nothing. Girardi using Borg connections. Huh. That wouldn't, I mean, if they were going to bring her back, I don't want them to bring her back, but it would make sense that she would come back and be an ally instead of a villain in this case. Yeah, there's a lot of questions here. I think that might have been my last one. Oh no, because we were talking about Jack. And Clarence said the same thing in our Discord. So again, I'm inviting everybody in my pinned comment to the chat. There is a link to our Discord. Join the Discord. We have these types of conversations all week leading up to, and I'm just gonna say all the time. We just have these conversations all the time because from the beginning of Star Trek Picard, we have been thinking, and there have been some heck of a theories that have come out in our Discord. So if you like, the door is open for you to join it. So Geek Filter, I like that. The door leads to the new Twilight Zone. It's just an in-show CBS ad. Clara says something very similar. Look very Twilight Zone. So Jack nearly perished, and we got Picard on the turbo lift to swing things back around to Riker's story of himself being on the turbo lift for 17 seconds, not knowing the fate of his child. Then we get Jean-Luc Picard having the exact same anxiety-ridden trip on a turbo lift, that same 17 seconds. Get down there. You don't know if your child is going to live or die. Then we see Jack take a breath, and we got Picard witnessing the rebirth of his son. So he wasn't there the first time, but he got to be there this time. This, to me, was a very beautiful parallel between him missing out on his child's entire life. He gets to be there for this new life that Jack has, and how it ties in the Riker story as well. Let me see. And ain't no such thing as a stupid question. Cake is eternal. Okay, stupid question. Would the child of an ex-Borg have any Borg nanoprobes? Somebody else, Clarence, asked that. Same question. Wouldn't he be the first child of a Borg, a former Borg, and a human? And that could very well play into things. It's not stretching it, because other people are thinking these things. Cake is eternal. So this could be a track, because this would be unprecedented. A human and a former Borg having a child. And what would that mean for this child? And could that be why he is potentially so important to Vadic and the changelings and the such? That is a very good thought, right? I think it is. I might even try. Look, I might try to stretch that one out. I usually make a video about a theory or something every week. So maybe I'll take something that we learned for one of the questions that was broached and look into it a little more and see if we can come up and formulate a theory around one of our comments here. Because that actually, that the Borg nanoprobes, that's a good one. Joel said, could be they don't know as much about that Borg stuff. When they rescued Picard, the EMH learned way more with 7. Yep, he sure did. There might be kids on the artifact. I don't think we saw any, though. There might be kids on the artifact. I don't remember seeing any, but let me see. But would they have been mixed? Would they have been literally part human, part Borg? That's the question. That would be another good tie in, especially if they're finding a way to bring the Borg back into things. Now, I mean, and as far as this whole thing having a Borg connection, uh, it would be he would be the authority on the Borg, and Bashir would be the authority on the changelings. So yeah, excuse me. Okay, so we talked. What do we think about now this conflict between Riker and Picard? This was probably one of the things that I felt wasn't earned, that it should not have gone from 0 to 100 as fast as it did. Um, I can understand that being under a tremendous amount of pressure might escalate things to make things go a little bit faster. But does it make sense to find out that there's a changeling on board the ship and then to send anybody off of the bridge? Wouldn't that be the time that you would lock the ship down so nobody is moving around, so you can't get duped? If there's nobody moving around in the corridors except for security, that would be the only people that you would have to worry about. Now, if you send Picard out there, there stands a chance that this 100-something-year-old man is is knocked out somewhere or killed, and now the changeling takes his form. Not saying that this is going to happen, but it could happen. So wouldn't it make more sense for everybody to just stay put? Let me know what you think. Hagen's Eternal says, I guess any kiss on an artifact could be any ex-Borg plus any species. Lots of species were assimilated. The possibilities are endless. Yeah. Oh my God, Changeling Borg would be dangerous. Very dangerous. Geek Filter said, that is why I think Riker may be a changeling. And you know, I'm not going to say anything. I think it's something different. I think it's something going on with Riker. We're led to believe that going down this path that he's making the decisions that he's making as far as not wanting to fight the Shrike, wanting to run from the Shrike and get out of that nebula, because he knows loss. He has learned how painful a loss is of a child, and he got people family on this ship that he's trying to protect. So we're made to believe that this is why he's making these decisions, that he doesn't want to fight and all of that. And I would even further say that he's not only got people's family, he has got Geordi LaForge's daughter, one of his good friends. He's got his daughter on the ship. If you put the ship in danger, you're putting Geordi's kids in danger. And that to me could be why we see a very angry Geordi when we see him getting mad at Picard. It could be a similar thing. It was one thing when it was me and you and all of us on the Enterprise, and you were the captain, and you were putting us in danger weekly. You were the captain. It was up to us to follow your orders. But now you jump on a ship where my daughter is and nearly get her killed. And how am I supposed to feel about that? I feel like those are the differences between Riker now, or they want us to believe that, and that we might find that we find with Geordi now, that it's all of this is about protecting these people on this ship. You know, I've heard the Thomas thing too. Angus says Riker is the changeling. Well, right now he can't be the changeling because the changeling is outside the door of the bridge. So we know right now where the changeling is on the ship. Doesn't mean that he's the only changeling on the ship, but we know that there's at least that one Ensign Foster who was already shady from the very beginning. So Ensign Foster is where the person who looks like Ensign Foster. So it makes me wonder whatever happened to the real Ensign Foster. Oh, uh, it's a changeling pretending to be Thomas Riker, pretending to be Will Riker. That changeling got a lot of levels to this stuff with the removable beard. Oh gosh, that's funny. That's funny. So what do we think though about the conflict? Are you guys buying it? Did it look believable to you? Did you guys have any issues? I felt like it might have been a little forced, just a little to me. Oh, and by the way, while I'm waiting on somebody to respond to that question, can you please hit the like button on this on this live stream so that maybe we can pick up a few more people? I don't know. I'm enjoying this conversation with the 10 of you. Let's see. Yeah, and then Picard. It seems like Riker would never dress anyone down in front of the crew, especially saying you've killed us all. I agree with that. That's a little far-fetched. You've killed us all. Really? You made the decision. If we're going with this, Picard is number one and you are the captain. Number one is supposed to make suggestions, and it's up to the captain to say, yeah, that's a great suggestion, or no, I don't think I'm going to go that way. Now Riker had been going, I'm not going that way, I'm not going that way, and finally, you start to feel we've lost warp drive when with the changeling blowing up stuff over there, so you ain't going nowhere anyway. So now you have to turn around and fight, and then you fire your torpedoes, and she just opens a portal, and the same torpedoes come and hit you right dead in your ass. You got hit with your old torpedoes, and then he gets mad at Picard. And I feel like, is that fair? Is it fair to kick Picard off of the bridge because you took his suggestion? And my answer is that's unfair. And again, a lot of this stuff is going on in front of this crew, and that is out of order as well. Yeah. Kate Eternal said agreed, that was over the top. And Geek Filter said that's a great way to terrify your crew and have them second guess everything they do. Exactly. Because now you took somebody's, again, nobody made Riker do that. It was a suggestion that he took, and it didn't turn out the way you wanted. And now you're floating down in the center of a nebula with a gravity well that has biological life signs and electricity running through it. Clarence makes another point. Good point. If he would have listened sooner, maybe it would not have happened. I think that I agree with Riker that from the beginning that they should have left the nebula. They should, even though they were never getting out of that nebula, not with this portal weapon. They're never getting out. But they are outgunned. They wasn't going to last a second in a firefight unless you're taking into consideration she's not going to destroy the ship because she wants Jack. So if you're taking that into consideration, then Picard is right. I see where you're going, Clarence. That was an amazing move on Vadic's part. She is playing chess, and they are playing checkers. The visuals were fantastic. And Shaw's crew is already terrified simply because they're not supposed to be out there doing that. They're supposed to be they are supposed to be on an exploratory mission. They weren't supposed to be going out there to get into war. Now, it looks like you've got some good officers on the bridge, It looks like Sidney LaForge is more than capable. It looks like Lieutenant Tavine is very competent. Lieutenant Tavine is the Vulcan. The Bajoran guy, I think his last name is Mora. He's got a good crew on the bridge, all except for Foster. I think Foster was on the bridge, and he was one of the people that they told to look out the window and tell when you have visual confirmation of the Shrike. The young lady did her job, but Foster was just looking out the window like, I don't see nothing. And that was not good, you know. But yeah, Shaw's crew is terrified, but they are an amazing crew. And I really hope to see more of them. I don't want this to be the. I guess I always fall in love with the crew when they start to flesh them out and give us more of an understanding of who they are. That is one of the complaints that I do have about Discovery, is that we never really, unless they're going to really open it up this season, we never got to know all of the members of the crew on the bridge. This bridge crew on the Titan, they are excellent. And yeah, and I feel like we're being set up to see more of them. I'm not going to go, and my wishful thinking doesn't come out to be true. But we're getting so much detail about this crew, their capabilities, their personalities a bit. It would be a shame to waste this crew. Geek Filter said you were going to say the same thing about Discovery. I just beat you to the punch. It is, when you're being honest and you're giving constructive type criticism, it's not, I hate that show and they can toss it in the trash and it's not Trek. That is the one thing that I felt we were concentrating so much on Burnham and her redemption from where she started to where she ended up, in season 4, that we did not pay enough attention to the background characters. Those background characters were very important. They should not have been background. And that's something that I wish that we could have done differently. Yeah. We see in it so much. Strange New Worlds, every episode we are getting another glimpse in the life of another crew member. And the only person who I regret not knowing enough about is Ortega's. But my understanding is they're going to jump the season off getting to know more about Ortega. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah. But that's my complaint, my nitpick about Discovery. We just never knew enough about the crew. And we know far more about the capabilities of a lot of this crew on the Titan than we know about the Discovery Bridge crew. So yeah. The visit between Sidney LaForge and Seven, did it feel out of place? You said more Strange New Worlds, please. Yeah. At least look, I was looking because as I was doing my making my spreadsheet for Trek by numbers. Let me pull that up real quick. I was looking at how many years literally, and I know Geek Filter, you probably know, but okay, Strange New Worlds starts in 2259. And TOS doesn't start to 2265. The events of the Cage are in 2254, right? So let me see. We've got a lot. We got a lot of time to explore Strange New Worlds. If the timeline says it's 2259 and TOS doesn't start to 2265, we've got a good number of years to explore before we get into bumping into the TOS timeline. So Strange New Worlds, we could get 7 seasons? 6? Yeah, 7 seasons. Geek Filter said, I would have liked to have seen more about them trying to fit into a world that was 900 years removed from their own. That would have been perfect for the Discovery bridge crew. Exactly. Because, it would start off, I imagine, it would start off being very insular, where they would just be staying to themselves. They would be hard to reach out and make friends who are so far advanced. And then to find out that even though we're going to call it humanity, we know that there are a million different species, but humanity is still humanity. No matter how far in the future you go, you still have compassion, you still have kindness, you still have all of the same qualities in human beings are still prevalent to those people that far in the future. That would have been a good way to explore not only getting to know more about the bridge crew, but also getting to know more about what's going on outside of Discovery. Clarence says, it did feel a bit out of place, but I appreciate the character building. And I do. I like the fact that we are seeing some conflict. There are a few really, really diehards who are like, oh, conflict was never a part. These people had evolved from having conflict. And I say, poo poo, because there's no evolution from disagreement. There's always going to be someone to disagree with. You will never, ever, ever. And then but they're disagreeing in such a immature way. All of us are not. When you get angry, everybody does not handle anger the same. So I like that we are getting some more, I guess, human characters that are allowed to make bad decisions, allowed to make mistakes, allowed to disagree. It was just that situation went from 0 to 100. But I do like the conflict. And Cake is Eternal is saying yes to Geek Filter 2. That was exactly, we could have gotten a lot. Clarence said, we also don't know what the season span of the new shows is meant to be. Maybe there will only be between 3 and 5. And yeah, we don't know anything, what the big plan is. However, the only thing that we know is that they don't want to have more than 5 series going at a time. Once series ends, they will plan to bring out something else. And hopefully, since we're ending Picard and then we're going to be ending Discovery, that we will have shows to fill in those gaps, because I'm liking Star Trek, at least, like they say, every quarter. So I'm enjoying this, and I'm not ready for that to end. Cake is Eternal says the Discovery crew didn't really get off the ship much, missed opportunities for exploration and comedy. We could have seen so much, but again, we're always on these crazy missions, and I would like to see more shore leave. If any crew deserves shore leave, the Discovery crew deserves shore leave. They deserve a break, and I would love to see them relax, much like we saw Paris and Kim. How when their downtime came around, Bashir and O'Brien, let's head to the holodecks and let's just make a world. Let's just have fun and let our hair down and let loose. And we've never seen the Discovery crew, except for in the first season. Was it the second season where they had the little party and they was all dancing? We don't get to see them have fun. Kirk got into a lot of conflicts for someone so evolved. Revisionist history. Now there are those people who just completely skip TOS because they're, to them, Star Trek started with the Next Generation. Okay, so they don't know about how McCoy and Spock went at each other, and how the one guy who was on the bridge for that one episode was bigoted against Vulcans because they appeared to be Romulans. They didn't get those exercises in Trek. So that doesn't exist to them. It only starts with what they read at TNG, and yeah, there was a lot of conflict. It wasn't knocked down. Excuse me. It wasn't knocked down, drag out conflict, but there was conflict on the Enterprise. I need more water. I'm sorry. So let me see. They deserve a 3-month vacation to Risa. Woo, that would be a heck of a. Now I'd be all for that series. Just give us 9 episodes of different crews hanging out at Risa. Give me that. I'll take it. It would be like I don't know how many people watch The White Lotus. It would be similar to that. The Discovery crew is owed 900 years of vacations. I agree. They need at least a week for every year that they got thrown into the future. Yes. Excuse me. No downtime for them. Right. It's terrible. Unfair. Okay, but I'm not gonna go into crying into my crying tears about my Discovery again. We got anything else that we want to talk about? Star Trek Picard, any Star Trek? Star Trek Risa. That's it. I've created the next great Trek show. There's another thought that I had, and that I wasn't. Star Trek Shore Leave. I was thinking about this, and I might make it a video. As a matter of fact, I might take suggestions. Like, if you were to make a council of omnipotent beings, or what is it? We call it an intergalactic council of omnipotent beings in Star Trek. Besides the Q, who would you put in this council? So, if you guys got any ideas, I'll wait. That's a you don't get back pay for time travel. It's like, yeah, it was 900 years, but it didn't feel like it, right? Star Trek Shore Leave. So yeah, Intergalactic Council of Omnipotent Beings. Q was already there. Who else could be in that group? I'm trying to think. Well, I know a couple, but I'm going to see if anybody else comes up with them, or if anybody comes up with somebody different. The Argonians. I'm writing stuff down because this could be something. The Argonians. I'm a guess. I mean, we said the Q. I would guess like the Watchers. The Squire of Gothos parents. Yeah. The Squire of Gothos. Was that Trelane? Or is that what a different episode? And the Prophets. Geek Filter said you don't get any pay for anything because money doesn't exist in the future. Yeah, the only thing that would count is the doggone give me the time off. That's what I'm looking for. I don't have to pay for anything. Give me the time off. Did I talk about the Riker spinoff idea? I was going to leave it alone only because even that, the more after I put it on our doggone Discord, I thought about the fact that even that in and of itself is a spoiler, ain't it? The fact that they are talking about this. If you guys already know about this Riker spinoff idea and you want to discuss it, let me know. Just say yes, because we can talk about it, because I do want to talk about it, but I also don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, because again, even that can be a little bit of the Megans from Vegas too. Okay, I'm write that down because I haven't watched those yet. The Megans. Um, Megas too, not Vegas too. Okay. um, but yeah. So I know Clarence, I know you want to discuss it. Anybody else want to discuss it? Council, the what are they? The Dowd from TNG's Survivor. I gotta remember who they are. Uh TNG. They were able to manipulate their appearance. Oh, yeah, I remember. I remember. Yep, we could put them on here. That's part of it. And then Riker had okay, so Clarence is agreeing we can't talk about this. Yeah, but yeah, so the fact that Riker is coming up with the idea is a spoiler in and of itself. And they have been so fast and loose with the spoilers. Just everybody, showrunner, everybody is just dropping shit. And I'm just like, are you for real? Yeah, I remember with the music box now, Geek Filter. I want to meet Captain Crandall. If he doesn't come up again in Picard, I'm gonna need a Riker spin. I'm gonna need a Riker spinoff. Everybody wants this Riker spinoff. Riker even wants the Riker spinoff. We'll see. Um, hey there, Reinhardt. You done came in at the tail end of things, sir. But it's good to see your face in the place. Um, so you guys got me a good start on the intergalactic council of omnipotent beings. The only other people who I mean are the watchers and the supervisors. Would they be considered uh omnipotent? Um, would they be considered to be omnipotent beings? The watchers, the supervisors, and who else? Oh, we were just talking about them. You would love to see characters from Lower Decks or Prodigy this season. Uh, on what? On Picard? I wouldn't mind seeing, because we're already going to get in some way, shape, or form. We know that a crossover is coming between a Strange New Worlds and the Lower Deck crew, and that's like it's all together weird. I'm wondering how that's going to happen. They're going to have to go into time. Somebody's going to have to go and time travel because the lower decks is in 2380. And then like we've already established, oh, we've already established that Strange New Worlds is 2259. So somebody's going to have to be making some real big leaps into the future. Cake is Eternal said Jonathan Frakes makes magic when he directs, and his acting is wow. Seems like Paramount would want to cash in on that. Yeah. And nostalgia, even though a lot of Trekkies say, oh, we don't want it as fan service. We don't want it as fan service. Nostalgia has been what's working out for Star Trek. Have you noticed? We've gone back to legacy characters like Super Legacy. We're talking about Pike. We've got Kirk on the ship. Kirk's brother, and I mean both Kirks have been on the ship. We've got Picard season 3 is knocking it out the park. We got Janeway and Prodigy. Nostalgia works with Star Trek. They need to continue. Just keep their foot on the gas. Maybe a nice blend of legacy characters and a new crew around them, uh, like the Titan. Like we got Seven, and then we've got Picard and Riker there, and then we've got some pieces around them that making it interesting because they are the wild cards. We kind of feel like we know the legacy characters. The wild cards are the new characters, and then build up a love for them and move them on. This is what's working for them. Reinhardt says we're going to get lower decks on Strange New Worlds this coming season. Clarence is saying, is it a musical? That I don't know. Somebody know? People seem to want fan service. They just don't want to call it that. Yep. That's what it is. They just want they want it. Everybody want to see this character again and that character again, which is fan service. But they don't want to be labeled that person. So yeah. And Cake is Eternal says, I just won't Trek. What some people call bad Trek is still great, in my opinion. Preach. Because I'm going to tell you, and if you've ever watched my reviews, I'm not a huge fan of Lower Decks, but that show is not made. Apparently, it's not made for me. Am I going to continue to review it? Yeah, I have to. It's Trek. But do I find myself now? I liked this past season more than I liked the seasons prior, but it's made for a different audience. And once you realize that, okay, you are not the target audience. This show is not made with you in mind. Like Prodigy wasn't made with me in mind, but I love it. And once you come to the realization that it ain't about you might like it. Yeah, lots of Trek flavors above. Virtual buffet. Reinhardt said, my favorite episode of Picard ever, but I agree with what you said, Tasha. The thing between Riker and Picard seemed forced. Yeah, it was just, again, we needed that conflict. I enjoy the fact that they have conflict, but in that moment, did it have to go that far? I don't think it did. Geek Filter said, it's like pizza. Even bad pizza is still pizza. And when you missing pizza, now I don't know. I'm from the Chicago area, man. Chicago style deep dish is everything. Oh, yes. So yeah. Give us Trek and understand. Again, you might not like the Trek that we're getting, but guess what it is? It's Trek. We went, and if you are of a certain age like I am, we went a long time without seeing any Trek. A long time. We've been through droughts twice in our life, long droughts of no Star Trek. And now we are back in like a renaissance area of Trek. Please, let's zip it. If you ain't enjoying it, just shut it up, because we could be going another 20 years with no Trek. Reinhardt said, the theme between Beverly and John Luke was perfect. You could see the anguish, the emotion, the sets of betrayal, the sense that they both hurt each other. Yeah. And like we discussed on the earlier side of this, it's not that either one of them is wrong in for feeling how they feel. It is in the practice, how you're putting those feelings into practice, that we can have some argument with. Lou Malnati's deep dish. Where's that? Where's Lou Malnati's at? For me at home, it's Giordano's. We have a place called Miller Pizza, Beggars. Oh, yeah. That's if I could take my butt back home just to get pizza. Geno's, yes. Yes, Geno's is good too. So yeah, you understand. All pizza ain't pizza. But I agree, sometimes whatever you can get, you just want that melty, cheesy goodness. Well, shoot. Let me look up next week's episode. I think it's called No Win Situation, No Win Scenario. Let's look at it. Did you guys see? Because I can't play it because they're gonna cut my stream. Did you guys see the sneak peek for episode 4 of Star Trek Picard? Let me know if you guys saw it and what you think. So yeah, this season 3, episode 4, No Win Scenario. Picard, Riker, and crew must confront the sins of their past as the Titan drifts hopelessly in a mysterious space anomaly. Oh, oh, I appreciate all of you guys for being here. I'm about to wrap up too, so I appreciate you for being here. David said, I just got my DVD player and TV back. Going to have to find some of these on DVD. You all are making me Jones. Reinhardt said, Clarence, you're very excited. I don't. Uh, uh, oh, and yes, again, thank you, Geek Filter, for connecting these viewers with me. I enjoyed having you all. You said you're ready for some love porridge. You need some LeVar Burton now. Oh gosh. And thank you, Geek Filter. You said I'm most welcome. You glad you caught it live for once? Well, I am too. It's been fun. So we got the description of next week's episode. Picard, Riker, and crew must confront the sins of their past as the Titan drifts hopelessly in a mysterious space anomaly. We will be talking about this again. You'll see my review probably Friday, Saturday, and you will have this live stream 4:30 p.m. on Central Time. Join us in all the places. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've made it very fun this week. Thank you. And yeah, it's been fun. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Live long and prosper. Peace.